Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming tonight. I'm one of the 2 teachers of the New Play Workshop here at the University of Utah, and this is one of our 3 stage readings that we do as finals for this project. Just to give you a little bit of context on it, we work with 3 student playwrights throughout the course of the semester within a cohort of students that are working on dramaturgy, marketing, directing, stage management, all of that. After the workshop process, we then cast these shows from within the class and then present them as staged readings here tonight. This year, we're also working with students from the Salt Lake School for the Performing Arts. The SPA students have been doing some design on these projects. You can see the set design outside, and you'll be hearing some sound as well during the show. And so we just want to thank everybody that coordinated all that collaboration between SPA and us here at the U. So after the reading, we'll give you a little short break, and then we'll have a Q&A with the playwright and the associate director, and it'll be led by our student dramaturg for this production. And thank you very much, and welcome to tonight's reading of One Last Cruise by Max Ricks.
One Last Cruise by Max Ricks. Characters in order of appearance. Sandy, 86, emotional with a subtle undertone of constant anxiety. John, 85, Sandy's husband, caring, but gradually becomes more and more overwhelmed. Sam, 35, a worker. Lily, 52, Sandy and John's daughter. Scott, 51, Lily's husband. Mike, 20, Lily and Scott's older son. John Jr., 18, Lily and Scott's younger son. Scene 1. Sandy and John are standing together, just out of earshot of Sam, who is working at their desk on an otherwise empty stage. The couple are both in their mid-80s. Sandy is wearing a teal poncho dress with a floral design around the neckline, while John is wearing a plaid button-up with rolled sleeves and khakis with suspenders. Their arms are linked, holding each other close. Sandy's tone is solemn, while John's is reassuring.
Are you sure we should be doing this? I mean, what if I get sick and they don't have any good doctors? What if I die?
I know this has all been sudden, dear, but this is a really exciting opportunity. It was very kind of Lily to arrange this for us. I think we should try our best to enjoy it.
Sandy has heard this from her daughter before, but not from John. She's not sure what to say, but after a moment, she decides. She puts on a smile.
Well, let's make the best of it.
John smiles a real smile. The 2 walk up to the reception desk.
Welcome. Would you like me to show you to your rooms?
No thanks. I think we can manage.
All right, have a wonderful day.
Sam shoots them a customer service smile. The couple smiles back. John and Sandy start to walk off stage. Before they're all the way off, Sandy turns back to look at Sam. Sam doesn't notice Sandy turning back, but suddenly Sandy has an idea. Breaking the arm link she has with John, she walks back over to the desk, reaching into her purse for something. After a moment, she pulls out a small origami crane and places it on the desk.
To keep you company.
Sam, although a little surprised, smiles back at Sandy. This time, the smile is real.
Thank you.
No, of course.
John is delighted. He puts his arm on Sandy's shoulder.
Sandy Shetler, that's my girl.
I love you, John.
I love you too.
The couple links their arms together again and starts moving. This time, as Sandy and John walk off stage, Sam watches them, a faint but unshakable smile still on their lips. Scene 2. A table and 2 chairs sit center stage. Sandy and John enter, looking around as they sit.
John?
What is it, dear? Why are you whispering?
Look at everyone else.
John does.
Okay. What about them?
They're all so old.
John stifles a laugh.
We aren't very young either. I think we fit in here.
Oh. Why did Lily set us up for this old folks cruise.
I think we're the main clientele.
I guess.
Sandy is thinking of what to say next when Sam enters with a small notepad. They walk up to the table the couple are sitting at.
Can I take your order?
We need a bit more time to decide.
No worries. I'll be right back.
Sam exits.
I think we should just enjoy our time here while we can.
I agree.
Good. I'm glad.
John,
Yes?
what's your favorite thing about me?
Where's this coming from?
What do you mean?
Well, you've never been the type to talk about feelings.
Well, I think the old people are getting to me. They're reminding me that I'm old too.
Is that a bad thing?
No, not really. I've just been thinking a lot about how we're almost done.
With life?
Yes,
Oh,
I've been getting hung up on all the times that I didn't like how I acted or when I treated other people badly. I know there's not much use in it, but I hate to think I'm going to leave this world with people still upset with me. Do you have anything to say?
I'm feeling really full. I think I'm gonna head back to the room. I'm feeling tired.
But we haven't eaten yet.
John gets up and starts to slowly walk off stage.
John, don't you want to wait for the food? But wait, where are you going? I mean, this isn't funny. John, are you mad at me?
John exits. He doesn't give Sandy any recognition. Sandy gets up from her chair and starts to follow him off. Once she does, the table and chairs are taken off stage.
John, come back. I don't know where our room is.
Sam enters. As they do, an ornate bed should be brought on from the opposite side of the stage.
Hi, Sandy. How'd you like your meal?
Where's my room?
You're in your room right now, love.
What?
Sandy turns around and sees her bed.
Oh,
Sandy gets in bed. John enters and sits beside her. Sam exits. Scene 3. Sandy's room. It's quite spacious for a cruise ship. The walls of the room are decorated with wallpaper depicting cranes in a style reminiscent of Japanese silk painting. Shelves full of all sorts of pottery and curios fill the room. A large window shows the open sea outside. Sandy is laying in her bed. The blanket is pulled almost up to her neck, covering most of her body. John sits beside the bed, holding Sandy's hand. The two are alone.
do you love me?
Of course I love you, dear. What makes you ask that?
I don't know,
Just what?
just say hi when you see me.
But I'm seeing you right now.
No, not when you see me here, but when you see me later after all this.
Oh, Sandy, of course I will.
As John says this, Sam enters with a plate of food. Sandy's surprised.
John, I brought you some food.
Thanks, but I'm not very hungry.
Who are you?
I'm Sam.
Oh,
Anything I can do for you all?
where am I?
You're in your room. John is here with you. How are you doing, John?
All right.
If you want to take a break for a bit, I can be here with her for a while.
No, that's all right. I'll stay here.
Are you sure? You've been here all day.
Yes, I'm sure. Thank you, Sam.
Sam shakes their head, a little frustrated at John's lack of self-preservation, but understanding. Sam exits.
John?
Yes?
Who was that?
That was Sam. They've been taking care of us.
Well, why?
Because we can't always take care of ourselves. We're getting old, Sandy.
Well, we aren't that old.
Yes, Sandy, we are. And that's all right. I've loved being with you so far, and I'm so glad we've had all the years together that we've had. But you can't deny it's been a lot of years.
Well, I don't want to be old.
I don't think they've made anything to help with that yet.
What are you going to do when I'm not here anymore?
I'm not sure. What would you do?
I don't know. I guess I'd hope that you wouldn't let your love for me die with me.
What do you mean?
If I go first, I hope you'll find somewhere to put your love for me. It'd be selfish to keep it all to yourself. I know I'd try to do the same.
I'll try to.
She smiles. Suddenly, Lily, Scott, Mike, and John Jr. enter stage right.
Hey, Mom. Scott and I brought the boys here to see you.
Lily, how did you get on this ship?
We just got here. How are you doing, Mom?
Oh, fine. Can I talk to the boys?
Yes, they're right here.
Mike and John Jr. walk up to join Lily. Scott stands at a bit more distance. Once the boys approach, John gets up out of his chair and goes to join Lily and Scott. Mike takes Sandy's hand. She looks at him.
Hi, Grandma. It's good to see you.
It's John, too. We love you, Grandma.
Seeing the boys, Sandy is overcome with emotion.
I love you boys too. I can still remember when I got the news that both of you were born, and that made me so happy. But now, you've both grown up, and I don't know what else to say to you, but sorry. I'm so sorry I didn't try to show you how much I loved you when I had the chance.
What? Mom, you...
I know you're going to say you love me, Lily, but you're lying. I haven't done enough, and now you hate me, and there's nothing I can do to fix it.
Lily is frustrated, but she diffuses it before it can boil over. Scott silently does his best to console her. Mike and John are surprised by what Sandy's just said.
You don't need to apologize, Grandma. We know how much you love us. We're feeling it right now.
Yeah, we're so happy to be able to talk with you. I'm sorry I wasn't able to come visit sooner.
Well, I'm glad you're here now. The sea air is so refreshing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
I'm just so sorry I didn't tell you how much I love you.
But
I hate that I never told you how important you all are to me. Oh, you cared for me so much, and I haven't done enough. In return, I'm sorry. I'm so. What was that?
Oh, don't worry about it, Mom. They didn't crash.
What? What?
Everyone but Sandy exits. Sandy looks around. She's frightened.
Well, where am I? Where did everyone go? Can any of you hear me?
As Sandy says this, her bed is taken off stage. Sandy tries to find what's moving her, but she can't see it. Scene 4, an empty stage. Lily and Scott enter together. Lily is visibly distraught, and Scott is there to talk with her.
I feel like I almost lost my temper back there.
But you didn't.
I know I didn't yell at my mom in front of my grandkids and my dad and the doctors. I'm the perfect daughter.
Okay, you know that's not what I meant. Don't you think it would be better to talk with your mom? Now try to make everything right before...
I don't want my mom to die thinking I don't love her.
Do you love her?
Yes, of course, yes, but
But what?
I don't really want to get into it right now.
I think it could be healthy for you to get into it. I don't fully understand what you're going through, but if you just told me, maybe you would feel a bit lighter.
There's so much I want to say to her.
Then say it to me. Pretend I'm her for a little while. I'll listen.
Really?
Sure, I could help alleviate some of the pressure you're feeling right now.
I don't know. I'm just really angry and I don't want to direct that at you.
It's not doing you any good keeping it inside.
Fine.
Okay, so what was so upsetting back inside?
She said,
I said, pretend I'm her.
okay, you said that I don't love you, that I hate you and there's nothing either of us can do to fix it.
Well, don't you?
No, I don't hate you, Mom. I love you. I love you so much, and I don't just love you because I'm your daughter. I love you because I've worked really, really hard on myself. I was so angry at you for years, and I've never really felt like you care about me. You've hardly shown any interest in what I do. I've started to expect nothing from you in hopes that it'll hurt less, but it never does. I've been so angry for so long that I'm sick of being angry at you, but you keep giving me reasons to be mad. So I've never really let myself let it go, because every time I try to, here you are with another shitty comment about my weight or my cooking or my job or about Scott. I've been trying so unbelievably hard not to let my feelings about you be tainted by what you've done or what you've said or how you've made me feel. Loving you can feel like a battle sometimes, but it's a battle I choose to fight every day. And now you say that I don't love you at all? That I only say I love you because I have to? No, I won't let you downplay the love I have for you by saying it's an obligation, because it's not.
As Lily talks, Scott turns into Sandy. Lily doesn't notice a difference.
Do you know how easy it would be to just cut you off? Go no contact? It would be so easy. And then all the shitty comments and judgment would be out of my life. But I'm still here. I'm still here because I've chosen to love you, Mom, in spite of your shortcomings. I choose to love you every time I talk to you, every time I come by to visit, every day I live. I want Scott and Mike and John to have a relationship with you because through all the ups and downs, and even though it feels like a solo project most of my time, I cherish the relationship that we've worked so to build, and I want them to see it. I won't let you minimize the monumental difficulty of constantly forgiving someone who's so unbothered by the fact that they've made someone feel like shit. And now you're dying. You're dying before we were able to make everything okay, before you said you were sorry, and your mind is basically gone, so in a way, you've already died. Hell, you already think you're on a cruise ship most of the time. And for some reason, whether it's because you've raised me to believe families love each other no matter what, or because I know our time together is almost up, I feel like I have to forgive you now. And in a way, I hate that. But the weirdest thing is that I think I'm finally starting to want to. I feel like forgiving you is easier now more than ever, and it's maddening. Why couldn't I have felt this way when you were healthy? Why does my forgiveness have to be contingent on the fact that you're going to be dead soon?
Lily looks into Sandy's eyes. She's crying.
I'm gonna miss you, Mom.
Lily snaps back to reality, seemingly surprised that she said everything she has. Sandy turns back into Scott. He's stunned.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said all that. I mean, what kind of daughter says those kind of things about her mother? She's only human and everybody makes mistakes and...
Scott interrupts her with a hug. After a moment, Lily relaxes into his arms.
You don't need to apologize.
Lily starts to say something, but instead just nods and holds Scott tighter, fighting back tears. They hold the hug for as long as Lily needs to. Mike and John Jr. enter, letting go of each other. Scott turns to them while Lily turns away, wiping her eyes.
How are you guys doing?
All right, I guess.
I didn't realize how quickly things have been getting worse. I only saw her a couple of weeks ago when she was still acting herself, but now...
Lily, having mostly collected herself, turns back towards the boys.
I know. Thanks for being here, guys. It means a lot to her.
Of course.
Yeah, we're happy to be here.
Let's go out for pizza. It's been a hard day.
Sure.
Sounds good.
I brought my car. Do you want to ride with me?
Sure.
I actually might go see if my dad wants to come too. Scott, you ride with Mike. I'll meet you guys there.
Sounds good. See you soon.
They exit. Scene 5. Sandy's room. The ornate decorations are the same, but now the bed has been replaced by a hospital bed. Sandy is sleeping, and John is still sitting by her side. The window that showed the open sea now has thin curtains drawn, blocking vision, but still letting light into the room. Lily enters.
Hey, Dad. We're going out for dinner. Do you want to join us?
No, I think I'll stay here.
I think it'd be good for you to get out of this room for a while. We're going to Pizza Port.
It won't feel right going there without your mother.
She'll be all right. There's tons of really great nurses that'll keep an eye on her.
I don't want to leave her here like this.
It'll be all right. I can get one of the nurses to stay in here while we're gone. It'll be an hour tops, promise.
I'm not that hungry.
Then let's just go for a drive.
I'll be fine.
What if we drive somewhere she loves? We can take pictures and show her once we get back.
No, Lily.
Dad, I'm worried about you.
Don't worry about me. I'm all right.
No, you're not! Please come with us.
John looks to the bed.
Fine. Go tell Sam I'm leaving for a bit. Just let me say goodbye.
Lily nods, then leaves the room to find Sam. When he's sure he's alone, John turns back to Sandy. He sits back down in the chair he was sitting in, taking her hand in his again. He's about to start talking, but he stops himself. He knows whatever he was about to say could never let Sandy know how much he loves her. Instead of talking, he leans over the bed and hugs her. She stays asleep. As he pulls away, he can't take his eyes off her.
Sandy Shetler, I love you.
Lily walks back in with Sam. John doesn't notice Lily until she speaks.
Ready to go, Dad?
I think so.
He stands and turns to Lily.
Are you?
I think so.
I'll be here the whole time you're gone. No need to worry.
Thank you.
Call me if anything happens.
Of course.
Thank you, Sam. We'll be back in an hour at the most.
Sounds good. See you in an hour.
They exit. Scene 6. An empty table with 6 chairs sits center stage. Scott, Mike, and John Jr. enter with a pizza on a tray and 5 plates distributed among them. They set the pizza and plates down at the center of the table, then sit down. Each of them takes a plate and a pizza. They eat for a minute or two in silence. Occasionally, one of them stops eating and prepares to say something, but every time they decide against it. Once a couple of minutes has passed, Scott speaks up.
How are you guys doing? I mean, with everything going on, I know this is really hard.
I don't know. It feels so weird having to just go along with life, knowing that Grandma could be gone any minute. But because it hasn't happened yet, it feels like I shouldn't already be grieving. It's weird.
Same here. It sort of feels like she's already gone.
I mean, in a way, she is already gone. She hasn't been mentally there for at least a week or two now.
Yeah, true. I know it sounds bad, but I almost wish it had happened. She seems like she's in a lot of pain.
I get what you mean. I hate seeing her like this.
Me too.
The 3 of them sit silently, unsure of what else there is to say. After a few moments of silence, Lily and John enter.
Sorry to keep you guys waiting.
No worries, John. We're glad you joined us.
Lily helps John sit down in his chair. It takes about 5 seconds. John talks as he sits. Lily sits as soon as John is situated.
Well, I couldn't let you guys have all the pizza to yourselves. You sure you're gonna finish all that?
There's plenty more left for you, John. You can have as much as you want. We're not very hungry.
John's eyes drift to the empty seat. A wave of sadness washes over his eyes. Scott notices the sudden shift.
You all right, John?
There's a seat for Sandy.
The table is silent. Nobody knows what to say. After a moment, John realizes the shift in the mood he's created and starts talking again to try and salvage it.
Boys, your grandma loves you very much. I know she hasn't always told you so, but that's just really not her way.
I know. I hope she knows how much we care too. I'm not sure how to talk to her when how she is right now.
I'm sure she understands.
I just feel so bad for her. She seems to have so much regret about what she didn't say.
I feel the same way. She just never really knew how to say how she felt, so she tried to show it in other ways. Do you guys remember how when she taught you how to make origami?
Yeah, I thought it was so cool, but I can never quite get it right.
Same here. Grandma was always so good at it.
Did your mother ever tell you how I met your grandmother?
Mike and John Jr. shake their heads now.
Well, it was in high school, junior year. I sat in the seat behind her in math class. I could tell she didn't care much for math by the fact that her notes were full of doodles. The day we officially met each other was about 2, maybe 3 weeks into the term. Sandy had forgotten her pencil that day, but rather than ask another student if she could borrow one of theirs, she'd carefully ripped out one of the pages of her notebook and tore it into a perfect square. Once she was satisfied with the square she'd made, she started folding an origami crane. I think I paid about as much attention to class as she did that day, because I was so interested in how she could make something as mundane as a piece of notebook paper into something so beautiful. She was folding it so carefully that it took nearly the whole class, and I was mesmerized the whole time. I tapped her on the shoulder after class to ask her where she learned how to make origami. She told me that her family lived in Japan for a few years when she was growing up, and that she learned how while she was there. I told her that the crane she'd made looked lovely. She smiled at me and told me I should keep it. I can always make another one, she'd said. It's my gift to you. I knew at that moment that I was falling in love with her. She showed me that love doesn't have to be some grand gesture. Sometimes it can be as simple as giving someone an origami crane. I always loved that about her.
What if we folded some cranes now? We've got a lot of napkins here.
I can look up how if we need help.
I think I remember how to make them. We can all make one.
Great idea, Mike.
John Jr. pulls out his phone to look up directions, and the others distribute napkins amongst themselves. Once John Jr. has set up his phone where everyone should be able to see it, they all get to work. After a few moments, John Jr. prepares to say something.
I've been wanting to tell you guys, but I've met someone.
Really?
Oh, that's great. How'd you meet?
In math class, actually. Grandpa, when you were telling your story of how you met Grandma, it felt like you were talking about how I met Julia.
That's wonderful, John.
This is the first I'm hearing about this.
This has been pretty recent.
No, it's fine. I didn't want to know.
Well, when do we get to meet her?
You know, I think I remember Sandy leaving a crane at this restaurant.
Really?
Uh-huh. Sandy thought the boy who took our order looked like he was having a bad day, so she left a crane on the table for him. I don't know if he ever saw it, but it's the thought that counts. I hope he kept it.
That reminds me of when I went prom dress shopping with Mom. She left a paper crane behind in the dressing room when we were done for the next person to find. I think my favorite part about that day was after I'd already tried on lots of dresses. They all looked nice and I liked them all. But then I saw this silver dress. It shimmered like stars whenever it moved. It was so pretty, and I knew as soon as I saw it that it was the one I wanted. I was worried that Mom would say something about it being too much or something. Her eyes got so wide when I walked out of the dressing room. She didn't say anything for a second, just looked at me. When I said, "Mom, what do you think?" she just said, "You look so pretty." I found the dress buried in my closet a while ago. Now I think it looks tacky, but it also reminds me of how sweet Mom can be.
I don't think I've ever heard that story.
Do you have a story about Mom?
The Night I Met Your Parents is a good one.
Oh my God, I almost forgot about that. Mike, John, have you heard this story before?
Mike and John shake their heads.
Scott, you tell it.
Okay. So Mom and I had been dating for about 2 months, and she thought it was a good time for me to meet her parents. I was so worried that they wouldn't like me. I wore a suit to try to make a good first impression. As soon as I got there, though, I felt like Grandma and Grandpa just thought I was sort of stuck up.
Mike and John Jr. look to John to see his reaction. John nods his head and answers. As Scott is talking, Lily's phone rings. Scott continues talking. Lily steps away from the table to take the call.
So I excused myself from the table and went to the bathroom to try to dress down a little bit. I'd accidentally buttoned my cuffs up too tight, so as I went to take my suit off, my arm got stuck and...
Guys, we need to go back right now. It's happening.
She gets up and starts running off stage right. She's starting to tear up.
I'll go with Mom. Mike, John, can you drive Grandpa?
The boys nod. Scott rushes off with Lily. Mike and John Jr. are already standing up before Scott has finished talking. They help John get up from his chair. Everyone is scared. All exit stage right as quickly as they can. Scene 7. Lily enters frazzled and hurried. Mike runs to meet her. They walk down the hall to Sandy's room together. They talk as they walk.
How is she? Is she still?
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet. She's not doing very well, though. Is Dad?
He's parking. We got caught in traffic.
The pair enter Sandy's room. It's a hospital room now. The walls are white and bare. The only decorations are a few framed pictures of the family all sitting together on a bedside table. John sits next to the bed, holding Sandy's hand. John Jr. is nearby, holding John's head. They're supporting each other. Sandy's head and torso are propped up by the hospital bed she's lying on. She's unable to move or speak now. All she can do is breathe, which makes a sort of gurgling sound as it gets harder and harder for her to do so. Her hair is thinned almost completely, and her face is pale and sunken with glassy eyes. To contrast her face, her swollen arms are a collage of reds, purples, and blues. Her dress is more visible now that her blanket has been pulled down below her chest. As Lily walks into the room, she sees it.
That's my dress.
What?
That's the dress I gave her. I gave that to her for Mother's Day last year. I can't believe I didn't notice it earlier.
Mike doesn't know what to say. Lily walks over to the bed. Lily and John share a solemn glance, and Lily takes Sandy's hand from John. Though mostly immobile, Sandy can still move her eyes slightly. She looks at Lily as much as her strength will allow.
Hi, Mom. It's Lily. Do you know you're wearing the dress I bought you? You look so pretty.
Though Sandy can't respond, a tear rolls down her cheek. Lily leans over the bed and gives Sandy a gentle hug. As she pulls away, she's crying too. The room is somber and quiet. Suddenly, Sam enters, holding a syringe.
Hi everyone, I'm just coming in to give her some more pain medicine.
Sam makes their way toward the bed and begins to administer the shot.
Is she in pain?
If she is, she won't be once the medicine kicks in. She should get some relief within the next few minutes. Anyone in here need anything?
A grief-stricken silence fills the room.
How about you, John? Anything I can do for you?
You can't do the only thing I want you to do.
I know. I'm sorry for your loss, all of you. If there's anything other than that I can do, just let me know.
John puts on a smile.
Thank you.
Sam smiles back at the family. Before they can go, Sam has an idea. Reaching into the front pocket of their scrubs, they pull out the same origami crane Sandy gave them earlier. They set it on the bedside table.
To keep you company.
John smiles. This time, it's genuine.
Thank you.
Of course. Remember, I'm here for you.
John nods. Sam leaves. Scott enters, giving Sam a solemn but thankful look as he passes. He walks to Lily, putting a reassuring hand on her shoulder. John turns to Sandy.
Sandy Shetler, you're my girl. I love you.
A few moments of silence pass. Sandy's labored breathing, which has been consistent so far, starts to slow down.
I think it's happening, guys.
Her breathing continues to slow, and the amount of time between inhales and exhales grows longer with each one.
I'll go get the nurse.
Scott hurries out of the room. As Sandy is slipping away, the present family members gather around her bed. They take their turns saying their last goodbyes.
I love you so much, Grandma.
We're gonna miss you, Grandma.
I love you, Mom.
I can't wait to see you again, Sandy.
A moment of silence passes as Sandy exhales. Sandy goes silent. Sandy gets up from the bed. Nobody reacts to this. They're all still staring at the place she was laying. Sandy walks around the family, looking at each of them one last time. After getting a good look at each family member at least once, she starts to walk off stage. Just before she's out of sight, she turns back for a moment. She smiles slightly in a knowingly, bittersweet way, then turns all the way around and walks all the way off stage. She's gone. End.
Alright guys, we're going to take just a couple minutes, so if you have to use a bathroom or stretch your legs, and then we'll be back for a talkback. So yeah, thank you. Okay, awesome. We're going to start the talkback now, if everyone's situated. So first question for the audience, just generally, I'm interested in just what your initial reactions and kind of your general takeaways are. Yes.
It was a very heartwarming story, and putting it together, eventually the hospital bed, but putting it together at the top of the show. Once I figured it out, I was like, oh, that's where we are. Just like that slow build up with nerve. It's very nice and heartwarming.
Totally. Thank you. Anyone else?
I really like the introduction of the origami from the beginning, where I was like, oh, cool, this lady just gave this person one, and then it became more and more like, oh, like this is like a strong identity, like personality thing that means something, and you know, really like the progression of it too.
Awesome. So the origami is a symbol. Any other just general takeaways before we get into specific questions? Join us. Yeah. Yeah, let me point everyone's attention to the Shame. Just kidding. Okay, what specific moments stood out to you from the play? So this could be anything that you found funny or evocative or compelling in some way. Yeah, no wrong answers here.
And Max already knows this from our read and playwriting class, but I related to that experience a lot of what it's like to lose a grandma. So I think the ones here, what John said to her before she passed away was something that really just poked something. Yeah.
Thank you.
There was a line that was said that was like, it was one of the characters going, I feel like their mind has already gone, or like they're already gone, and one of the other characters went, well, in a way it has, which was just so sad, but very true if you are in that type of situation of what it feels like. So that's what that's for.
Thank you.
I really like Lily's whole monologue slash rant.
Totally, yeah, I feel like, at least for me, Lily's monologue always feels kind of, has this raw emotion I really thank you. Yeah.
I really like the use of like time. I think that tends to be like a hard line to toe. Like especially in the theater, because you can't like put a title card up and be like 2 days later, but like the using the like location to kind of tell that story, I feel like I still really understood it, and I didn't like, yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Great, thank you.
I really enjoyed the, like at the beginning, the image of the origami, but the way that it was repurposed, and it felt like I felt the sorrow of like, we know what's happening, but there was still joy there, and that for me is what impacted me the most, was like finding the joy in the darkness and then having to face reality, but with a new breath of fresh air to go into it. I felt, yeah.
The bittersweetness, thank you. Any other specific moments that stuck with you? Awesome. Well, then I'll move on to, in terms of, we had our whole family of characters. What characters or relationships did you find the most engaging or interesting?
I always think the mother-daughter relationship is really interesting, and the one with Lily and Sandy I think was really strong. Not just I liked that it showed the positives and negatives that come up with such a vulnerable time, and it was just really beautiful.
Yeah.
I think like the relationship between grandchildren and grandparent was very interesting, of just that there was a level of disconnect there, and some level of like regret from the children of not really knowing as much as they want to know, and I think like the end of life place in her life that she was at like kind of brought that out for both parties.
Great, thank you. Any other characters' relationships?
I like Scott, the son-in-law. I think I just think like it's so like the in-law relationship and dynamic of people are so interesting, and I thought Scott was written really well and played really well, Emily. Like the distant but not like disrespectful of like, I know that you need your space right now, and I know that like you maybe not liked me before, and I like the little tease of that with the story that he told. And I thought it didn't feel like distracting, and it felt right. It felt very respectful.
Totally, yeah, thank you. Yeah, Jimmy.
I like the relationship between the brothers, especially during that pizza stuff. I was like, oh, I'm seeing someone. Oh, you didn't tell me. Yeah, I thought that played out really well.
Awesome, thank you. Yes.
I like the scene with Lily and Scott where kind of like Lily was doing the rant and Scott was like encouraging her to open up about her emotions. I thought that was like a great scene of kind of like support from a partner who, while it isn't like happening to them per se, they're helping somebody through it. So I think that was really well done.
Yeah, thank you.
I thought a moment that like stuck out to me is like when Lily is trying to get John to go get dinner with them, and John is stubborn and not willing to leave his wife so easily. That just felt like really strong characterization. Yeah.
Great. Awesome. Was there anything from the play that confused you or left you with some unanswered questions?
I just wanted to hear the end of Scott's story.
Totally, yeah.
I really enjoyed the rant to Scott, but I was a little confused as to how we got there. I could have also just missed something. But
Kind of the emotional build-up
yeah,
to that.
yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
I think because you had done the transitions, kind of like jumping from one place to the other and like slowly adding stuff at that moment too, I was a little confused of starting out talking to Scott and then it turning into Sandy and then going back to Scott, because when it became Sandy, I'm like, oh, is she just like letting loose to her mom? But then I went back to Scott, and so I was a little confused just because you had done that with like the physical location transition. So for me, that felt a little muddy.
Totally. Yeah. Thank you. Any other moments of confusion or unanswered questions? Awesome. I'm just curious. We can kind of jump around here. What you would say, like some of the central themes or messages from the show were.
I think the big one I took away is like regrets or wanting to make up for past wrongs, especially when Sandy has her monologue about, or maybe not monologue, but the section at like dinner, which is like, how am I going to apologize? I'm going to leave this world not apologizing to everyone I've ever wronged. Like that feeling of how do I come to accept that I can't apologize for everything I've ever done, but still accept that I did my best at the same time. That simple.
The regret. Thank you. Yeah.
I feel like kind of similarly to that, I think it was with the daughter's monologue of like closure and forgiveness was something, like maybe acceptance and like coming to terms, those words.
No, I love it. Yeah. Closure, forgiveness, acceptance.
I got hints of like the stages of grief, which I thought was really nice, and also the celebration of life at the pizza parlor. I thought was a very nice touch.
Totally. Yeah. The celebration of life and the grief kind of contrasting. Yeah.
Like the question of like, what do you leave when you're gone? I felt pertinent of the Cranes, but also Sandy visibly leaving the family behind, but with things to have that are hers.
With the Cranes, I'm curious what your takeaways of what the Cranes represented, or what the Cranes, their place in the story, what that was for you. Anyone? Yeah.
I took them to kind of be like the small acts of kindness that happen in the world, that just like, you don't have to leave a huge impact to leave an impact on people and brighten someone's day just a little bit. And just also the way that her essence just kind of scattered about to different people's lives in that moment.
Yeah. I feel like there was a lot of like talking about not knowing how to express love, and for me that kind of came through as like her expression of love. Like she can't say something, but she can give someone something, whether it's like a small amount of love or gratitude or like trying to cheer someone up, or if it's like, I'm going to teach you this skill so that you can share your love with others.
That's great. Yeah, Zoe.
Yeah, it just seemed like a good representation of all the different ways we can affect other people's lives.
Great. Now we'll turn the time to our kind of final section of questions, which is just if you, as an audience, have any questions for our wonderful playwright Max or our associate director Macey about the play or the process, or anything you'd like to know.
I guess like, where did you start? Like, was there a scene that you started writing? Did you write like in chronological order?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I feel like a lot of the times when I'm writing a story of any kind, I have one or two scenes that are just, I know are in there somewhere, and I have to figure out how we get there and what happens afterwards. And for that, this one for me, the two scenes were the car crash when they think we're on a cruise, and the final scene of Sandy getting up and walking around the family and then leaving. And yeah, so I just wanted to find a way to build up to that and also kind of give some parallels throughout that could make those moments as impactful as possible. And as I went along, I found even more scenes that I felt like maybe, yeah, that added even more things to it. So yeah, just building up from kind of two core ideas that I had.
Any other questions for creative team? Yeah.
What was the most fulfilling part of this process for you?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think just being able to see something that I've written come to life by these awesome actors over here, and also by talking with the teachers that we've had, Jamie Allen and Mark Fossen. Mark is here somewhere. Where is he? Up there.
The rafters.
By kind of getting their input on what just kind of the world of playwriting, because this is kind of my first foray into writing for the stage in any way, and it's been a really amazing experience just to learn so much about how theater works and how many different things that have to go together to get a show up and running. It was really cool to see.
Macey, what was the most fulfilling part of the process from a directorial point of view?
I think it was really cool just throughout the entire process seeing how the play evolved, especially with this cast, and yeah, just seeing like how things changed in the way that they read it, and like kind of noting new relationships. And I think the family, like all of the family relationships especially, grew within the entire process.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah, any other questions? Awesome, well, we'll wrap up there unless either of you has any questions.
I think I'm good.
Great, thank you all so much for coming.